It's the first time we've talked. Did we talk before? Wait, when you got back or no? No.
Just
The last
right
time
when I
we
got
talked.
back.
Oh, that's right. That's right when you got back. So you're back in America. How does it feel to be back in America, like full time, huh?
Puckett,
Are you back to doing all the things that you swore off when you were in Paris?
Well, let's just say this, Puckett. We got a lot to get to today, but you say back in America, and is there a better time to be an American than right now? At least in the Pacific Northwest. I mean, let's just put it all out there right now. I mean, it's sunny, it's blue skies. The Washington State Fair for some, the Puyallup Fair for me, is underway. So I'm downwind from scones and elephant ears and crusty pups. That's going on right now. There's concerts galore taking place at the Washington State Fair, at T-Mobile, at Lumen Field. I mean, you got Metallica, you got Journey. There's music in the air, Puck. Then you got high school football, which starts tonight. It's Friday. High school football is back. The King 5 big game is back. You got the Cougars 1-0. You got the Huskies 1-0. And then I know we'll get to
what about the Lutes?
Well, the Seahawks. You got the Lutes. You got the Loggers. You got the Whitworth Pirates.
You don't know you don't know what the record. Have the Lutes played yet?
No, this is opening week for the Lutes and the Loggers as well.
Let's go Lutes.
And then throw in the Seahawks season opener at home. I mean, come on. What else you need right now? Yeah, playoff baseball, but we'll get into that as well.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Where can I watch the Seahawks this year?
You know what? The home of the Seahawks, King 5 TV. I mean, that's the place to be. We've got the fifth quarter after Sunday Night Football. I know they always sit there. I love this, the promos. It's Paul Sylvie and Walter Jones and Steve Rabel. You know what? I'm on there, too. I don't know why I don't get a name.
Are you not in the promos?
Yeah, they don't mention me, Puck. I'm going to be honest with you. You know, all I did was work 23 straight days in Paris for them.
So who is that? Who do you think pushes you out? I mean, it's Sylvie? Or?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on, Puck. But you know what? Sometimes you just got to lay low in the weeds and do the work. And you know that's what my dad taught me a long time ago. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. So.
How about our fancy new? Even though it doesn't cover up. How about our fancy new little logo here? I mean, you got a picture of you here. We've got the Chris Egan Show. It's brought to you by Fat Zach's Pizza. We have a little fancy little rundown here. We've got the logo. I can't seem to get the please enter your name thing here over the Fat Zach's logo, but that's okay. We'll work on that. This little QR code, if you're watching, this is for the viewers. If you're watching, if you hit that QR code, you know where that's going to take you guys, that fancy little QR code? Right to Fat Zach's Pizza, which brings you the Chris Egan Show. They got 3 locations in Sumner, Puyallup, and South Hill, home of the original No Big Dill Pickle Pizza. Book one of their 3 fabulous food trucks for catering, birthday parties, graduations, corporate events, fatzachspizza.com, or just click that take a picture of that QR code. Huh? We're moving on up, man. We're making things happen.
This is absolutely unreal. And to add one more note for Fat Zach's, they have one of their stores right there on the corner, kitty corner to Carl Sparks Stadium in downtown Puyallup, which will be home to every Friday night. You got, Rogers, Puyallup, Emerald Ridge. Saturday, the PLU Lutes will be playing there. I mean,
they are.
So, I mean, you just go down there, get a little appetizer, get a little dinner, and then go watch a game. I mean,
don't you love it? Don't you listen? I'm going to ask you a stupid question, okay?
Yeah.
Don't you just love tonight? Don't you just love it? I love it. I love it more than I honestly, 100%. I get jealous of what you get to do every Friday. I really wish I just could come with you and we could tag team it together. I just love what you get to do. I love high school football. I adore it. We're going to go watch Ballard play tonight. I got nobody. I mean, my neighbor's the starting running back, but my daughter's there and she probably doesn't want me to be there until I have to take her home after the game. But Ballard's taking on Ingram. And if the weather's nice, it'd be a little probably crisper at night and parents grilling up hot dogs and hamburgers. I love it, man.
This is where you and I see things eye to eye. You know what? I've been doing this for over 15 years now, and some people ask, how are you going to get the energy going? How are you going to get it? You know what? Every year I'm doing the Capital Olympia game tonight. They call it the Spaghetti Bowl. Started back in 1976. These two teams, because they're in different, one's 4A, one's 3A, haven't played each other a ton over the last decade. But why do I love it? Because I already have 10 emails from parents like, hey, Chris, make sure you keep an eye on 56. Hey, Chris, watch out for number 12. I mean, there's so much pride for these kids. And then they're saying 5,000 to 6,000 people are going to be at Ingersoll Stadium tonight for this game, these two rival teams. These are not, if you look back at the history of high school football over the last 5 to 6 years, these are not two of your top contenders in the state. Don't tell that to these two teams tonight because they're going to treat this thing like a playoff game. It's going to be packed. It's a rivalry.
Why do they call it that?
They called it the Spaghetti Bowl because in 1976, when they started it, the Olympia Rotary Club got together and says, let's make some money and start giving some scholarships away to these kids. So they started a spaghetti feed before the game. And so I'll be at the spaghetti feed tonight at 5 o'clock, garlic bread, spaghetti, and salad. And,
nothing better, right? There's nothing better than that big spread, right, of just spaghetti with the old ragu can thrown in it, and then the Safeway garlic French bread.
Yes.
God, nothing is loaded more with preservatives than that meal. And
Puckett, right there.
The bags the bags of salad thrown in there. Just love it.
Let's go right there on that because, I mean, you've hit something that it hits a nerve to me. The Safeway garlic bread. My wife and I get along great. We probably agree on about 92% of things.
Okay.
And she has a saying, love ya but, which means, okay, what did I do wrong? Well, Mel, love ya but you don't love Safeway garlic bread as much as I do. Every time we go there, I'm like, we got to get this. And she'll say, no, let's just get the bread without the garlic. No. Why would you do that? I mean, that is the best bread in America.
Egan, why would you do that to yourself?
I mean, you're denying yourself one of the greatest garlic breads of all time when you don't purchase that.
I put a little under on the neck. I rub it around. It's so good.
Yeah. I'll just eat a lot of times, Puckett, just the dough, and then throw the crust away and move on to the next part. So
it's so good. It is so. It's like one of the best things that Safeway has ever done.
I 100% agree with you, and and most of my family agrees as well. And they get disappointed if we don't have that garlic bread if we're having spaghetti. So I'm excited. It's going to be fun. Yeah. It's going to be another busy year. There's a lot of great teams out there, a lot of great storylines. So we'll see. It's going to be Capital Olympia will kick it off for us, and then we'll travel all across the state. We love going to We actually haven't been to this game, I think, since 2015, maybe, Puck. It's been a while, so it will be good to be back.
How many Puyallup and Rogers games do you think?
It's interesting because I get a lot of people say that, and yes, do I enjoy a nice 4-minute commute down to Sparks Stadium opposed to heading out to Hoquiam and Anacortes? Sure, but I enjoy visiting Anacortes and Hoquiam. But I have not done a Rogers game. I checked the charts. I haven't done a Rogers game in over 9 years. So, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that think I'm pretty biased towards the SPSL because that's where my kids go to school. But to be fair, last year we were up north quite a bit, and we were not down south very much at all. So, interesting rivalry game, though. They moved the Fishbowl to a Saturday, which kind of throws me off because that's a game I used to do all the time. Yeah,
but what was the incident last year?
I think there was a late hit, and there was some commotion between some coaches, and the
ambulance didn't get out there in time, and all that. Wasn't their ambulance not there?
It's a gigantic crowd. I think the ambulance was actually working on something else, working on another issue going on. But for safety's sake, I guess they've now moved it to a neutral site. We'll see. Yeah. I thought that was one of the greatest rivalries in the state. So they're going to try.
When is that? Are you going to go to that?
I think that's tomorrow night. I think it's Saturday
tomorrow
night.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
well, I'm going to tag along with you again this year if you can. Like if it's okay.
Yeah, I would love it, and I would love it if you can, head out to one of these smaller, one school towns because that's where it's just some fun stuff. So
yeah, let's do that. That's fun. Last year we did the Lake Stevens game, and that was fun. I mean, Lake Stevens was great.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think the ultimate show would be live with you, with your mom, North Thurston High School if they've got a game, and we go from the Paulsville Bakery. I mean, that to me would be the ultimate.
Just bring out my little 4'8" German mother. What? Are you on TV? I think I recognize you. You don't look like Paul Sylvie.
In the end, to answer your question, Puckett, yes, the screen, if you're watching, looks absolutely amazing. You go on a 2-week vacation, you come back, and I look at this, and I'm like, wow, Puckett's been working hard. So well done.
We got things. Shout out to my buddy Sky. Sky's he's making this all happen. So yeah, without Sky, there's none of that. Well, we're like now the little rundown that we have on the video board. We don't need to go like in order. If you don't want to, we can. I want to start first with the wedding, because last time we left you, and I forget, we kind of teased it. Hey, we'll talk to you next time and talk about the wedding. But there was never next time because I went on vacation. I've seen the videos. I've seen the countdown on Instagram. I've seen your father look like he was breakdancing. I need a recap of the wedding of the year.
Well, here's the breakdown. I woke up the day of the wedding and I thought, I need to take my daughter to Starbucks. This will be our last Starbucks together. And I was getting all emotional. And I'm like, no, it's not. She's just getting married. So I'm not losing a daughter. I'm gaining a son. So once I had that mentality down, I think I was more emotionally stable for the day. I'll say this. My wife and now Maddie's mother-in-law, Suzanne, incredible job from the rehearsal dinner on Friday to the wedding. And then my daughter hit a home run on everything she did with this wedding. She was involved in everything, the planning and everything she did. She was absolutely perfect. The wedding, we were a little worried because of the rain, but we were indoors. It stopped raining by the time wedding came, which in the end was actually kind of nice because the temperature was just a nice 60 degrees, 70 degrees. So it wasn't too hot in there. Pastor Mike Egan, also works at Microsoft on the side, was the he was the officiator of the wedding. Absolutely amazing. I mean, he nailed it. My favorite line of his, he goes, you know what? I've spoken in front of thousands of people. I've done thousands of events, but I'm a little nervous. I just looked out there and I see Joyce Taylor. So he was a little nervous, but he hit it out. So
Joyce Taylor got an invitation, but we didn't get an invitation.
You were on vacation, Puckett. You were off in the deep woods. We couldn't even get a hold of you. And then we had it at this place, Knudsen Farms, which you basically have the wedding on one side, then you move to the reception on the other side. And Maddie married Zach, who plays for Point Loma. He's also played for Curtis High. A lot of basketball people there. In fact, I think there was 12 Division I basketball coaches, 14 high school coaches there. Very tall wedding, Puckett. I came over to introduce the bridal party. I did it with the Chicago Bulls intro. That kind of got the crowd fired up. The speeches went really well. I was nervous, but Mel was by my side, and we got through that. Here's the big hits of the wedding. This is what you need to know. And I'm going to go through them. Huge hit. Pastor Mike decided to get a cookie truck. So he had a cookie truck there for dessert, which gave you mini cookies and ice cream. At the minimum, there was 40 people in the line waiting for those cookies. It was a huge hit. People said, if we doing a wedding, we got to do the cookie truck. Yeah. The weather was colder. And Puck, I'm thanking you right here, my friend. We thought with hot weather, Corona, Coors Light, white wine would go fast. Well, since it was kind of rainy, guess what went fast? IPAs, which you are the man that told me to get IPAs. We loaded up with IPAs and red wine. We went through, I think, 3 cases of red wine. But Puck, are you ready? This is what I'm going to break the Instagram world. We're going to break the YouTube world. Anybody that is planning a wedding, anyone that's planning a wedding, take this advice from yours truly, because this was a big hit. This was a huge hit, Puckett. I decided when I was in Paris by myself that Butterfly Kisses, the song that Maddie and I were going to dance to, the father and daughter dance, was just a long song, 4 minutes. It was too much time for me out on the floor. I decided to make a quick announcement before the father and daughter dance. I said, you know what? I'm excited to have this last dance with my daughter, but I encourage anyone out here who has a daughter with them in the crowd tonight to join us in this dance. We danced by ourselves for about a minute, and then Puck, here comes Melanie and Fair, Egan and her dad. Here comes, the mother of the groom and her dad, and then all of a sudden you got all these dads and all these dads and daughters out there dancing. People are crying. Huge hit. So there you go. That's my tip.
Let me ask you something about that wedding or that dance, right? Where the traditional father and daughter, and they call it the last dance, right?
Yeah.
Was there ever a first dance? Because I'll be honest with you, I've never in the 15 years of my daughter, I've never danced with her one time.
Well,
so why is there this tradition where you've got to dance with your daughter on her wedding day?
I don't understand.
I've never danced with her before.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't understand the tradition. I will say this, Puck, that was the point I mentioned was in Puyallup, they have what's called a daddy and daughter dance, where anywhere from like third grade to high school, you could take your daughter to this dance. Well, I never went to that dance because we were off playing tennis tournaments or basketball tournaments. So that was kind of, I said, I was never able to do this dance with my daughter. So if you could all join me up on the dance floor and have some fun there. So no, it was a great day. She looked absolutely beautiful. The wife was stunning. I didn't cry too much, which was good. You didn't
cry in the speech. You didn't tear up in the speech.
A little bit, just a little bit. But I was just like, this is a happy day. It's a day to celebrate joining of families, and we added a son, so it was cool. I thought it went very well, and the dance floor was buzzing. But I will say this: when you have a wedding,
I saw pictures of your dad.
He was getting down, but then as the night goes on, Puck, you realize, okay, there's a lot of 22 and 23-year-olds out here, and I feel really old. So then you start kind of working your way to the edges of the dance floor.
Yeah.
But good day.
All right, what? All right, the let's just let's air them out. Who overserved themselves?
That's an interesting point. I don't think anybody drank too much. I think everybody was so kind of engaged with each other. There was sure, people enjoyed their drinks, but I think what honestly helped Puckett was the food was phenomenal. Went chicken parm with pasta and salad, and then you throw that cookie truck, and I think it kind of I'm not joking, Puck. Everyone went to that cookie truck, so I think that took them away from the bar a little bit. So another piece of advice: daddy-daughter dance. Invite everybody. Get a cookie truck.
Well, I love the idea of the cookie truck. I think the idea of the cookie truck is I'm all in on that one, and I think many people should start thinking ahead to the cookie truck. I think it's a great idea on your part. I thought somebody like you would have gone maybe with some elephant ears or scones for the wedding.
So I actually called the scone wagon and was trying to get scones at her, and they were busy that day. I was a little disappointed, how much, free pub I've given the Washington State Fair over the years. I thought maybe they could come somehow, find another scone wagon, but they could not, Puck. So, we tried. We tried to get the scone wagon there.
Well, it sounds like with the food truck cookies, that was a hit. All right, so we're on food here. It's on our rundown. It's on our list. And you got a flask too.
It says I survived my daughter's wedding. So there you go.
There you go. Would you put anything in the flask at the time or not?
Not at the time. I tried to keep, because Puckett, here's the deal. You were talking about everybody. Did anybody, lose it at the wedding too much? I mean, here or there, but yours truly, the next day we had to do gifts at our house, and that night we had to drive to Spokane to take our middle son Austin to Gonzaga, where he is now playing baseball for. So we didn't have.
Oh, that's right. Congratulations.
We didn't have much time, Puckett, so we kind of had to, the wife and I.
You got to wrap it up.
Let's get this wedding. Let's get the gifts open, and let's get number 2 over to college. So, yeah.
Well, congratulations to Austin, beginning his collegiate baseball career at Gonzaga. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. It's got to be a proud parent and dad moment.
It's fun. You know what? He had a great time at Shoreline. Coach Snell did an awesome job with him. It was great starting spot for him, and now he's excited to be a Zag, and he's having fun. Good baseball program. So we'll see. Yeah, it should be fun.
All right, elephant ears or scones. We do it every single year. When does the fair officially start?
It's underway, Puck. The fair is
Is it already underway?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. They opened up with Foreigner. I think it was a sellout Foreigner last week. Had a sellout crowd. They've had some big shows already. The
Okay.
weather's been great, so they've had a
Good.
lot of people down there. And the food has been phenomenal. The only issue, it's not cheap anymore, Puck. It's not cheap.
Oh, I bet it's not. Yeah, inflation has hit the fair.
Yes, I mean a dozen scones I think is now $30. Sadly, I remember when it was like 50
Are you buying
cents
a thousand of? Are you buying a dozen scones?
I mean, when you go
Why
there,
not?
usually you get a dozen. I will say this: we talk about elephant ears versus scones.
Yeah.
I love a
I love
scone
both.
right out of the oven. It's got to be hot when they serve it to you. I think once you take it home, it loses a little of that luster. So, but here's why I've switched to the elephant ear, because in my mind, the scones now. The scone wagon is everywhere. Like I can get a scone every week if I want, because I know where the scone wagons are at. So I think because I'm enjoying scones so much throughout the year, I'm just the elephant ear. I only get one time a year, and so I think that's why I enjoy it more.
First of all, can I stop you? What's a scone wagon? Is this in Puyallup? I mean,
Yeah, it
there's just
drives
these
around.
wagons everywhere.
It's like a food truck. So they just
Oh,
serve scones.
we don't have that up here.
There's no scone wagon coming into Ballard at all?
No, there's a hobo wagon serving hobo sandwiches and stealing bikes.
In Puyallup, we have the scone wagon, which like I said, it's part of who I am. I mean, there's scone in my blood, but for me, I'm going to go elephant ear because I only have it once a year. It's got, it's a little cinnamon, maybe raspberry jelly on it if I'm feeling the mood, and a lot of butter. And for me, that's number one.
I'm going to do something this year if I go down there, and I try to make it down every year. I'm going to take that elephant ear.
Yeah.
And I'm going to wrap it around a scone.
Oh, wow. You're going to invent your own.
I'm going to invent what would we call it?
The scone ear.
A scone ear.
I'm going to
invent the scone ear. I'm going to wrap it like a burrito.
I would almost think even better would be taking an elephant ear and getting a crusty pup, a.k.a. corn dog, and wrapping an elephant ear around that crusty pup.
I may do that. I may wrap the elephant ear around that turkey leg.
To this day, I mean, I enjoyed working at King 5 during the Metallica concert because I love people watching. It's tough. It's tough to top people watching at a fair. So I'm going to just say that.
There's nothing better. And I'll tell you, when the best time to watch those beasts of the great wide open down at that fair is right around 7 to 8 o'clock.
Sun's going down.
The
food's already been down.
And they've been in the beer garden for a little while, and then they come out. And it's just, I mean, football jerseys, saggy jean shorts, and calf tattoos, and here they come.
At what point did people stop buying belts?
I don't know, but they're there. They're at the fair.
I mean, Puckett, let's be honest with ourselves. A belt is not an expensive, accessory to buy for your wardrobe. And every year at the fair, it's like, I mean, do people not know that their butt crack is showing to everybody? It's not expensive. You can get a belt for $4.
And the white tube socks are pulled up high. They've got an old crappy Jim McIlvaine, Sonics, jersey, the green and red one on. Not a good look.
Oh man,
not a good look. All right, so we've covered that. Jerry Dipoto. Let's go to Jerry Dipoto.
Sure.
Come on. I mean, it's like you are Mr. Positivity.
Yeah,
you're going to come on here right now and you're going to tell me, hey, there's 21 games left. There are only 4.5 games out. I'm telling you, they're going to do it. They've got a chance to do it. But how can a guy, I just want to know, like for someone who's been there for 9 years and now gets a 10th year and 11th year, really, because let's be honest. I mean, and Divish and Jude in their story, for the Seattle Times. I mean, they're not bringing him back for a year. You would never do that for a president of baseball operations. So he's going to have a multi-year deal. I would just like to know from John Stanton, if they ever have a press conference, is just why.
Yeah.
What's the reason behind this?
The Angels, yes. And first off, I am Mr. Positivity, especially with the Mariners. I try to be glass half full. And then, I had to anchor through the Angels series and then the first 2 games of the Oakland A's series. And people at work said, I think Chris is losing it, because I was throwing things in the office. I was like, this is the moment where you jump back into it. The Royals were losing, like, and then just these continually 1-run losses. And they're not only 1-run losses, they're just the amount of strikeouts over those games. And it wasn't just those 4 games, Puck. It seems like it's now, this is what we've been talking about, you and I, for about a decade now, is the lack of hitting, the problems with hitting. And so I think at one point you do have to look at yourselves in a mirror as a franchise and say, this is a problem. Why does a Teoscar Hernandez hit the ball before he gets here, doesn't hit the ball when he's here, and then he leaves and hits the ball? Why does a Ty France leave and all of a sudden start hitting the ball? What is going into these guys' minds? What are they telling these guys as hitters to do and not do, which is not making them hit? Whether it be, and I'm tired of people, we got to change the dimensions at T-Mobile. We got to change the batter's eye. There's something going on up here in the head of these hitters. That's what's going on. And I know that they've hired mental trainers and mental health coaches, but what Jerry Dipoto has done with pitching, we can't deny. He's absolutely one of the best in baseball when it comes to finding talent with pitching. Offensively, no. There's a problem, and that problem needs to be addressed. And so that's concerning to me that we're going to keep going in this same direction. But in my mind, are we really going to go in that same direction, Puck? Because will we ever get 5 starters like this ever again in the history of this franchise? And let's even say you had a 6th starter in Emerson Hancock, who did a pretty good job when he was filling in.
Right.
It's going to be tough to ever have a season when you have that much talent that really doesn't get injured much. I know Brian Wu missed some games here and there, but to stay healthy like they did, I don't know if you're ever going to have that again. And so something needs to be addressed, obviously. If they came out and Stanton had a press conference and Jerry Dipoto had a press conference and they said, hey, I'm keeping this job, but I'm taking myself out of the mix when it comes to offense and finding offensive talent and coaching the offensive talent, then I'd be like, oh, okay, that's we can work with that. But I'm concerned, honestly, because I think I'm more depressed this year than any year, Puck, because I sat down there in spring training. I did stories on all these guys. I pretty much, I felt like this team was going to the World Series. I really felt like this was the year. And maybe I'm too much of a homer. Maybe I was too much bought in. Maybe I believe that pitching gets you there. But at one point, everybody is right. You have to score runs to win, and we just couldn't do it. So. Yeah,
it's no, I think you're home. I think everyone was, optimistic. Well, you're always optimistic to a degree. I just don't. I just, I discussed this, with Jim on the Daily Puck Drop. That I'll be honest with you, and you can call me a bad fan. I think fans were all hypocritical. We can bury them. Say the season's over, and let's say they come back and make the playoffs.
Oh, the place would be sold out.
It's okay for me to jump back on and be, because I'm a fan, and it's okay to be hypocritical. I want them to lose the rest of the games. That's how mad I am about this season. I'm just so upset how they've handled everything. The fact that they use the manager as the scapegoat, and I'm not saying I was the biggest Scott Service fan, but it wasn't a Scott Service problem. And then to bring a guy back who I just don't think is likable. That's the one thing, too. I don't think he's likable. And I don't think people in the organization like him. I don't think people outside the organization like him. I don't like the way he treats people. And I've heard plenty of stories, you probably have too, of just how he treats people behind the scenes. I just don't think it's worth it. And the fact that, John Stanton and these guys just don't seem to care about that. And on top of the fact that, he is the president of the team. That's the whole team. The whole team. It's not just the pitchers, and I love how we just give him credit for the pitchers.
Yeah.
Like he gets all this credit for the pitchers, but Scott Service never did.
No.
Or his coaches never did. But yet, when it comes to the offense, it was all the coaching. It was their issues. It was Service's issues. It's not his. He's the one who acquires the players. It's his philosophy that sprinkles down through all the systems. And I just think it's a mistake.
Well,
I think it's a mistake on a lot of different parts. And then I just think it's a mistake. You have an absentee owner who, again, didn't even bother to make an appearance when they fired the manager. They had a Zoom press conference. They didn't even have the respect of the media to sit up in front of them when they were at home, by the way, to do a press conference. And I just makes me hate him. I'll be honestly, makes me hate him.
And whatever your thoughts are on Scott Service, and if you're listening or watching, I mean, he deserved more. I mean, that was like a send-off for somebody that's been an employee at your office for 2 weeks. Here's a box of dilly bars. Thanks for helping out. Good riddance. But this is a guy that
love a dilly bar.
This is a guy that gave his life, sweat, blood, and tears to this organization for nearly a decade. I thought he deserved better. On his way out, yes, I believe he was the scapegoat on this, Puck, and it's too bad. And, you mentioned him acquiring players. I don't think he's actually done a bad job acquiring players. The problem is when those players get here, and this is where the organization and unfortunately, I don't know if they could do this, where you go through all these players that leave. What went wrong here? I mean, what did they tell you as a hitter? Why did your numbers go down so dramatically? And let's survey like 200 of them and get some answers and fix this thing now.
I think I think they really should just bring in all these guys and be like, hey, you're not going to come back here. That's fine. Why doesn't it not work here?
Yeah.
Just tell us. Get Ty France and listen. France is going to a hitter-friendly park. I get that, but bring in France, bring in Teoscar, bring in all these guys that say they don't like hitting there. Why? And listen to them. Bring them all in. Past players.
And don't. This is not an internal question. Have an independent firm do this. I mean, I'm somebody outside of the organization.
Sure.
That can
whatever.
ask in-depth, real questions to these players, like. What went wrong? Why did your numbers drop 60? Why is your OPS this? Why did your, slugging percentage drop so much? And these guys love to talk stats. They love to talk baseball. That's what they've been doing since they were 6 years old. I mean, you go back, these guys learn they become professional baseball players for a reason, Puck. They're very good. But to get there, they had to do things the right way to get there. So they know what they're doing at the plate. So there's got to be some type of trend there, something that's going wrong, from whether it happens as soon as they arrive in Peoria at spring training to the season to meetings. Something's going on, and we got to get to the bottom of that. So.
All right, but on the perfect time of they collapse right now, we get on the verge of the Seahawks season, which gets underway this weekend. Of course, you guys will have all your coverage at King 5 with your partnership with the Seahawks. And I'll be honest, I think change is exciting. Right? Yeah. Change is exciting. And so I think I'm excited to see what just a new Seahawks football looks like. I'm excited to hear past and former players start talking about how it feels like there's this more old school mentality. It's come back up, physicality, a competition, what Pete Carroll talked a lot about, but then Mike McDonald has kind of brought that back. And I'm just, I'm excited to see something new and excited for Mike McDonald. I am over the board excited to see what Ryan Grubb can do with this offense.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. And, I think I'm going to agree with what a lot of people, I think they're going to surprise a lot of pundits and fans out there of just maybe how good they potentially can be and how quickly they may be able to compete in this division.
I'm 100% with you on everything you said. Let's start with Ryan Grubb. I've never been more excited about a preseason leading up to a season for this fact. Yes. Ryan Grubb showed us absolutely nothing during the preseason, which I love. Usually we sit there at spring training like, oh, they're hitting the ball hard. That's a good sign. Grubb showed us nothing, which is just awesome because he's sitting in his office with his mastermind offensive schemes. They're ready to unleash that on Sunday against the Denver Broncos. I love the fact that Grubb's running this offense. I sat down this week with Tyler Lockett. He's going into his 10th season in the NFL this week, Puckett. I mean, he's second in receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, receptions, only behind one person, number 80, Steve Largent. This is a guy, when you're sitting down with, you're thinking, okay, he's probably the biggest Pete Carroll fan of anybody. It's probably going to be tough, this change. You know what? He said it simply. You know, I love playing for Pete Carroll, but I'm excited. Coach McDonald it's a new challenge. It's a new era, and he's got the guys pumped up, ready to go. We heard from Jaron Reed. This is a guy that also played, in Kansas City. He played in Green Bay. He played for Pete Carroll. He's pumped up. He talked about that old school mentality that Mike McDonald has. So, Mike McDonald is not going to go on camera and give you this rah-rah sound bite. He's not going to pump things up. But you know what? In my mind, Puck, this guy is not going to get out coached. No way is this guy not going to be ready for the Denver Broncos. And what happened a year ago? We're like, oh, God, did the Seahawks just get out coached in their home opener? McDonald, in my mind, he'll have this team ready every single week, X's and O's. He's gonna fail. It's his first year as a head coach. There's gonna be some things he's like, he's got to handle. It's like being a politician. He's got to handle the media. He's got to handle PR. He's got to handle, all these players. It's just not the defense. So he's gonna have some. He's gonna be tested this year, but I like this guy, man. He is. Yeah. He's quiet. He's confident, and he's not going to get outworked in my mind. So I'm excited as well. I think they're going to surprise people.
Yeah, and then I think I asked it yesterday on X is just what are you more excited about? You more excited about the defense or the offense? And I mean, for me, it's been this way for forever. And I'm jaded, not jaded. I'm influenced by the fact that I watched Ryan grow up for the last 2 years. But I also influenced by, I used to, for some weird reason, would always just kind of watch Fresno State. I don't know why. And so I've just see what he can do as a coordinator. So, and, with Gino's certainly a capable quarterback. They've got a weapons at wide receiver and their two running backs. And clearly it's going to come down the line. But I just think what he is going to be able to do offensively with the talent around him is going to be great. And I just think for the first time, they've got a coordinator in there, has a clear plan what he wants to do, and can also be multiple and adjust on the fly. And I just think the last few coordinators, they went through coordinators left and right under Pete, and Pete could never figure out what he wanted to do offensively. I think there's a clear identity, what Grubb and what Mike McDonald want to do. And to me, that's going to be refreshing.
Well, what did Ryan Grubb have at the UW? Yes, he had a very good quarterback, but he had three wide receivers, three shiny, bright toys that he could play with every week. And arguably right now, the Seahawks don't have the best wide receiver, but they got a pretty good wide receiver room. I mean, they have depth. And Grubb is going to love the fact that, he can utilize Lockett and Jackson Smith and Jigba when you got DK as your number one target. And
just to wrap it up, right? Yeah, I'm like you, excited. Can't wait to see him. Can't wait to see what they're able to do this year. Wrap it up. It's the last thing on there on the rundown. Please tell me, what did you do? You saved a sinking boat.
So to wrap everything up, Puck, we celebrate my parents' 59th anniversary. We get our daughter married. We take our son to Gonzaga. So we get home, and the wife's like, let's get a little time out on Vaughn Bay, where the Fair family, has some fun out there on Vaughn Bay near Allen, Washington. And we decide to take the father-in-law's boat out. Well, whoever had the boat last took the plug out. And so we take the boat and we put it out on the buoy, and for some reason, I'm not throwing myself or anybody under the bus, but whoever forgot to double check that the plug was in the boat. So we put the boat way out in the buoy, out there. Everything looks good. And about 20 minutes later, one of my
What kind of boat are we talking about?
This is a Bayliner, nice boat, nice ski boat. So we got the boat out there, and about 20 minutes while it's been sitting out there, one of the nieces goes, the boat seems a little low. And we're looking out there, we're like, yeah, that doesn't look right. And so my brother-in-law gets a little paddleboard and goes out there pretty fast, and I'm kind of standing by on the shore. And all I hear him say is, Chris, grab some buckets, get out here. I'm no boating expert, Puck, but when somebody says grab some buckets, that's usually not a good sign. So
No, it's not.
I go into full David Hasselhoff mode where I grab like 3 buckets, shirt flies off, and I'm just, I can feel the Baywatch music. I got buckets on both hands. I'm just getting out to that boat as fast as I can. Jump in the boat. It's sinking fast. It's probably a foot deep of water. So I just start scooping. And I'm yelling like, we got to find out where the water's coming in from. And I'm just throwing water everywhere. Finally, we realize that the plug is not in the boat. So we get the plug in. I get all the water out. And then I put, we can't get it to start at this point because it's been soaked in salt water and things aren't working. So then, I go from David Hasselhoff to Big Walter Jones training for training camp. I put a rope over my shoulder and I said, we got to haul this boat in. So I just start carrying the boat into shore.
You got your workout in.
I got my workout in. The gun show was in full force for the wife there at the beach. And we got the boat in. We got it fully drained. And then the next hour is everybody that owns a boat. Like, when I put the plug, I put it right next to my keys. I'm like, yes, we understand that a plug should be in the boat. We know that. It was a big mistake. It won't happen again.
Why'd they take the plug out?
But 10 more minutes, Puck, that thing's at the bottom of the ocean. So
who took it? Why would you take it out?
I don't know. That's another story.
All right.
So
it's good to catch up with you. Enjoy what do we got? Give me the Spaghetti Bowl, Olympia
Capital. A little rivalry game. First started in 1976.
Awesome.
And then next week, who knows where we're heading? But it's fun time of year.
Next week we're doing this live. All right, so be prepared. Get that internet going. The do not disturb.
Yeah.
We got to be locked in next week.
I'm gonna have a checklist, Puckett, because you've gone all out with the screen.
Yeah.
I need to take my game up a little bit. I got to take my game.
All right, you're the best. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, buddy.
There he is, Chris Egan Show, brought to you by Fat Zach's Pizza. That QR code, just click on that QR code. It's going to take you right there to Fat Zach's Pizza. You can book one of their multiple food trucks. They got 3 of them for catering, birthday parties, graduations, and corporate events. And Chris, never too early to take a little sip off Granddaddy's cough medicine with his flask from his wedding. Catch all the episodes, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts, and of course, at pucksports.com.